For most of my life, I believed what everyone else believed. Smart people read a lot of books. If you want to grow, read more. If you want to succeed, read more. If you want a better life, guess what? Read more. Bookshelves became status symbols. Reading became a personality. People flexed book counts the way others flexed gym PRs. I believed in that culture for years. Until I finally admitted something I was ashamed to say out loud. Reading wasn't changing my life. I was consuming information, but not transforming with it. I was finishing books, but not becoming better. I was reading, but not thinking. And when I finally broke out of that cycle, people judged me like crazy. Some called me lazy. Some said I was disrespecting knowledge. Others said I was just trying to be different for attention. They were wrong. I didn't stop reading because I hated books. I stopped reading because I realized there is a much more powerful way to learn. Something far more extreme, far more effective, and far more honest. I stopped reading and started copying the minds of the authors. Not their words, not their summaries, not their quotes. Their mental frameworks, their decision-making patterns, their problem-solving systems. And the moment I replaced traditional reading with systematic knowledge extraction, my learning speed exploded. This is the story of how and why it happens. People romanticize reading. They treat it like a sacred ritual. But here's the truth reading culture doesn't want to admit. Reading books is one of the slowest forms of learning, not because books are bad, books are amazing, but because of how people read them. Most readers read passively, chase motivation instead of transformation, highlight everything but understand nothing. Finish books but forget 90% after 2 weeks. Read to feel productive, not to become productive. Traditional reading trains your brain to collect information but not to process it. It's like eating without digesting. You feel full, but you gain nothing. That's why I stopped. I didn't want to collect ideas anymore. I wanted to think at the same level as the people who created them. The shift happened when I read something that shocked me more than any self-help book ever did. A neuroscientist said, "You don't learn by reading. You learn by reconstructing the author's thinking." That one sentence destroyed my entire belief system. I realized I had been reading wrong my whole life. I didn't need more books. I needed deeper cognition. The truth hit me brutally. I wasn't after knowledge, I was after the illusion of being knowledgeable. I didn't want to read more. I wanted to understand more. And to understand more, I had to stop reading like a consumer and start thinking like a creator. People hear copying and assume plagiarism. They couldn't be more wrong. Copying the author's mind means copying their logic, their reasoning, their mental models, their frameworks, their worldview, their methods for breaking problems. It means extracting the skeleton behind their ideas. Here is how it works. Step 1. Forget the story. Look for the system. Every book contains patterns. Most readers get lost in examples and anecdotes. I only look for the rule, the mechanism, the underlying structure. That alone cuts reading time by 70%. Step 2. Rewrite the idea in my own logic. If I can't explain it using my own reasoning, I don't understand it. No quotes, no copying phrases, no beautiful sentences, just thought reconstruction. Step 3. Build the author's mental model. Every great author thinks in models. Taleb works in probabilities, Harari in historical patterns, Seth Godin in behavior loops, Gabor Mate in trauma frameworks, Naval Ravikant in leverage equations. Once you extract the structure, you unlock the author's mind. Step 4. Use the model instantly. Knowledge unused is knowledge forgotten. I integrate it into decisions, conversations, writing, problem-solving daily life. This turns one idea into 100 applications. That is how you actually learn. That is how you think at a higher level. Not by reading more, but by thinking deeper. When I said publicly that I stopped reading books, people attacked me instantly. The reason is simple. Reading has become an identity, not a tool. People feel superior because they read a lot. When you question the method, they feel personally threatened. But most people who brag about reading don't apply anything. They read, can't explain the ideas without quoting. Forget most of the book afterward, read to escape, not to grow. Traditional reading feels productive, but is often passive. Systematic extraction doesn't feel as romantic, but it produces results. I don't care about the aesthetic of reading. I care about the impact of learning. Bookshelves don't impress me. Mental models do. Here is where things got interesting. Once I switched from reading to mind copying, everything accelerated. My thinking became sharper. I no longer consumed ideas. I dissected them. My creativity exploded. Combining frameworks from different authors creates innovation. My memory improved naturally. Because I wasn't memorizing, I was restructuring. My writing improved instantly. Because I wasn't recycling sentences, I was recycling systems. My problem-solving speed increased. Once you build enough models, life becomes a set of solvable patterns. Before, I was well-read. Now I'm well-structured. There's a massive difference. People think they're addicted to social media, but many are actually addicted to something more dangerous. Consuming without thinking, books become a sophisticated escape from boredom, discomfort, introspection facing themselves. Reading becomes a shield against honesty. You feel productive without changing. You feel smart without thinking. You feel busy without moving forward. This is the trap of traditional reading culture. And this is why I left it. I didn't want to be a consumer of ideas. I wanted to become a creator of understanding. Here is my entire method in 5 steps. 1. Identify the core claim. Every book has one main point. Find it. Ignore the rest. 2. Extract the mental model. What structure is the author using to think? 3. Rephrase it in your own logic. If you can't rewrite it, you don't understand it. 4. Stress test it. Ask, does this work in real life? When does it fail? What are the exceptions? This creates true understanding, not blind faith. 5. Apply immediately. Knowledge only sticks when used. That's it. 5 steps. 10 times more powerful than reading 50 books. Because your brain is not designed to store information. It is designed to store relationships between ideas, frameworks, not facts, patterns, not pages, systems, not stories. When you extract these relationships, you're not learning. You're upgrading your brain's operating system. Every new model becomes a tool. Every tool becomes part of your identity. Every identity shift becomes a permanent transformation. That's what real learning is. This may sound extreme, but after years of experimentation, here is my conclusion. Most people don't need to read more. They need to think more deeply about what they already read. Depth beats quantity. Understanding beats consumption. Cognition beats motivation. A person who fully understands 5 books will outperform a person who skims 50. In the end, your life won't change because you read a lot. Your life will change because you understand a few powerful ideas deeply enough to apply them. That's why I stopped traditional reading. And that's why I started copying minds. Starting today, ask yourself this brutally honest question. Do I read to grow, or do I read to escape? If the answer scares you, good. Discomfort is the doorway to clarity. Then try this. Pick one book you love. Ignore the quotes. Ignore the stories. Extract the mental model. Rewrite it in your words. Apply it today. You will learn more in 1 hour of this method than in 10 hours of traditional reading. Not because the book changed, but but because you did, I wasn't judged because I stopped reading books. I was judged because I stopped romanticizing learning. I don't care about looking smart. I care about thinking clearly. I care about understanding deeply. I care about transforming effectively. And if that means reading less but extracting more, then so be it. Because at the end of the day, growth isn't about counting pages. Growth is about upgrading the way you think. And the best way to do that is not by consuming more books, but by copying the minds that wrote them.